He's also made videos speaking against the, well, the lies and the deception that's been put in the Bible from his perspective. In which he's also had a lot of debates with Hebrew Israelites as well. So one of the
Brother
Hebrew
Tazariak is
Israelites we
actually
will
the
do
first Hebrew that I wiped out
another interview
when
or
I first
discussion
came
with
to Europe.
Brother
I did this
Tazariak. Do you know
presentation
Brother
called The
Tazariak?
Bible was based off astrology, and I broke down how the 12 tribes is actually just the 12 zodiacs, amongst other things. So Tazariak is actually the first Hebrew I ever wiped out.
Cool. Okay, on that note, because we're going to be doing a discussion with Tazariak at some point as well. He said he was going to be up for doing a discussion with us, so we're definitely going to get into that. Okay, that's that's another issue. Okay, so he's also, and for those that aren't aware, um, during the time of the beginning of the pandemic, okay, a lot of people had a lot of questions. What was actually going on? Is this something new to society? Is this the government? Is this a government up? You know, there was a lot of questions that needed to be asked. There was a lot going on with politics, with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Donald Trump and Mike Pence and all of this sort of stuff, the Democrats and the Republicans. Around that time, in these significant pockets of time, there was a lot of events going on, including they was killing people like Omar Arbery. They killed George Floyd at the time. Yeah, that's just to mention a few, okay? And look how big that George Floyd thing, how that came out. It triggered the whole BLM movement.
At the same time,
And, there was, as we all know, there were riots over there in the US and there were riots over here in the UK. And that's not all the places. It was over the world. Right, exactly. So this is something that is it was a massive event at the time. When I say event, it was obviously a tragic moment, and for us all, not just for George Floyd, but it was it was definitely something that got everybody. But young Pharaoh, during that time, the internet was very a lot of music videos weren't getting a lot of views. A lot of videos in general weren't getting any views apart from survival videos and people wanting to watch the news, see what's happening with COVID and find out what's happening with Trump, whether he's going to be the president or not, and coronavirus, the lockdown, all of this sort of stuff. But young Pharaoh, at a time when the internet was dead, the internet was actually dead, he brought out a video um, debunking the events of George Floyd slash BLM, the Democrats, and rigged elections, Hillary Clinton. He mentioned so many things that was in that video, and he came with a lot of receipts. I saw that for myself, and I wish I saved it, and I think I have saved it. If I have, I will post some clips. Wow. Okay, thank you. Let me say this, but young Pharaoh, he done a video on this when the whole internet in the whole world was dead. And he brought out a video about, like I said, George Floyd, BLM, Democrats, blah, 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 all of these things. And that video got, it was maybe one peaking maybe to 2 million views. Okay, it's a long time ago, but I remember seeing the numbers and they significantly rise. And also, just to put it out there, this was at a time as well where young Pharaoh, his following, I saw with my own personal eyes, his following was peaking maybe to around maybe even 700, maybe 800, let's just say under a mil on Instagram. If I'm going to be more accurate, I'm going to say just under 1 mil on Instagram. And so, his accounts were up. YouTube, I can't remember the YouTube following, but it might have been around maybe under a mil as well. But he started on YouTube anyway, so that was his key platform before he even came to Instagram. Anyway, that video got around let's say just under 2 million views, and whether that might not sound like a lot because now you're seeing 95. etc. Remember what I said earlier? This was at, but before the pandemic, musically, you know. But anyway, young Pharaoh at that time, his video practically broke the internet, especially with the, you know, the events and the significant. So that video, I know it got taken down, and that's what made me think, like, whoa, you know, maybe with these events, you know, there's got to be some truth to it, because he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't actually offend a community of people or anything like this. He didn't do any of that. He just presented himself very well, very articulately, very clearly. Right. I saw that for myself, so I can say that I testified to that. It was nothing but journalism endings on the George Floyd, BLM, Democrats, the rigged elections, Hillary Clinton, and more. You know, you mentioned a lot of things to do with Freemasonry as well in that one. Yeah, so this is, you know, if you haven't really had a view of the things that he's done, this is but the least. What are your current beliefs? You know, because like I said, you've broken down a lot on spirituality, Christianity, Islam, religions in general. I've heard you speak on, you know, astrology, you know, music, frequencies, science. You know, you speak nothing but spirit science. When you speak about spirituality, you always back it with the science behind it to prove its existence, and, you know, to prove its functions. You know, so what are your current beliefs today? Because obviously this is like pre-pandemic. A lot of the work you've done is pre-pandemic, and then now we've come to like a new age. A lot has changed, for you, for me, for everybody. You know. And what are your current beliefs today? Like, when I say that as well, let me give a little bit of, you know, a bit of reference to something. A long time ago, I've seen some videos, and other people have seen videos of you, where you have said before, the black woman is God. I'm not saying that you know, you said she was entirely God, like there wasn't more to it, but can you explain that? You know, can you explain what you said? Now, what you meant by what you said, and is this still currently your viewpoint on black women? So let's start with that.
But I'm going to assume, as I always do when I'm speaking into a crowd of people, especially black people, that you are watching me with the psychological architecture of what we call Western thought. So, especially if you grew up here in America. So I have to first break down to y'all the origins of where this statement is coming from. Now, we could bring up people who brought this teaching before me. I'm not saying that understanding is incorrect, but that's not the understanding that our research comes from. Atonism, which is something that I've taught y'all, may have mistook that as Buddhism. I connected to Japan through Shintoism, and I have a presentation coming up on that. But Buddha was black. He started it. It's basically the Egyptian form of Buddhism. Now, without turning this into an entire presentation, when I say the black woman is God, God stands for generator, organizer, and dispenser of all reality. Now, when it comes to having a physical reality or experience, everybody knows male of that species. You get your physical vessel from your mother. Your mother holds the majority of genes and everything. So just like we value the bank because it stores our money, we value the woman because she stores our genetics. And this is the whole importance of, you know, bloodline preservation, etc., or even being very specific and picky and choosy about how you who you procreate with, if you do procreate with somebody outside your race. Now, when you study Egypt, you have the story of Nun, which is where they stole the story of Enki and Enlil from. They stole it from Nun, Geb, and Shu. Now, I've also broke down that and debunked the Sumerian tablets to a certain extent. But long story short, when you study the history of Egypt, which I can, etc. We know that the sun is born out of the womb of the universe. Actually, is just an electromagnet and turns into gas and hydrogen and helium, etc. But this is why when a woman is pregnant with the male, it's called a son. You're giving birth to a son. Just like when the electrical frequencies are incubating behind the veil of the universe when they give birth to a son, and then from there planets are formed, solar systems are formed, and a family structure intergalactically is formed. Then from there we have what's called astrobiology, which is biological matter that forms humans and planets, etc. Now, with that being said, when I say the black woman is God, I'm speaking from the pretenses of spirituality. Like, for example, you see the mayat on my neck, the mayat got wings. A woman is supposed to protect a man. Isis is symbolic to a vulture because a vulture is one of the only animals that if they can't find food for their baby, they'll peck their own leg off and give it to their child. So a woman is supposed to not only represent divine motherhood and femininity, they also supposed to protect that man. Our ancestors set in place, as well as genetic laws that are unhingeable. I'm not talking about being spiteful and weaponizing the system against your man. I'm not talking about trying to mess a nigga bag up because he getting money, now you want to put him on child support. I'm not talking about none of that. I'm not talking about being on your bully because you might have a better job than a black man. I'm not talking about none of that type of shit. So I just want to be very clear on that, because you, just like you have men that have heard my teachings and went and manipulated in the past, such as Nature Boy, the Rashad Jamal nigga had to get him shot, and the rest of these niggas that hear my shit and regurgitate for their own means. You got women that do it too. So I don't want nobody in their house or nobody in the community hearing nothing that came out of my mouth and using it for evil. So that is what the fuck I mean when I say it. It's coming out of my mouth. I never not stood on it. I've always stood on it. And where the issue is people trying to pervert what I've said to get their rocks off, and then trying to put it back on me like, well, you said it. Like, I didn't say that like that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't mean that like that. So I just want people to know I give the black man his respect. I give the black woman their respect. But in no means am I saying go try to run over a black man and bully him because this, that, and the third. Like, we already deal with enough of y'all throwing us in the trash for government assistance and shit like that. I don't have time for you taking a righteous teaching and manipulating it to try to get your rocks off. We're not doing that. So, I just want to throw it out there. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Right. Right. Okay. Now, thank you. Thank you very much for explaining that. So it's like you're saying, what, the black woman is God in a certain aspect, but not in its full, entirety, that she is God. You just go to her. That's it. That's not necessarily
from these
spiritual.
The mind, once it generated a cross, which is the original form of an orbital field,
right,
frequency. Then when that frequency generated electricity, from there that electricity started to stimulate atoms. Those atoms generated molecules. Those molecules generated molecular structures. Those molecular structures, in the form of what we are known as, became cells. Those cells became cellular systems. Cellular systems became organs. Organs became organ systems. Organ systems became organisms. And the first humanoid organism on the planet, factually proven, was a black African woman. So when I say the black woman is God, the black woman is the first physical form of humanoid experience that the mind wanted to have on this planet. And then from there, after, to be the protector of the woman, became the man. So a woman, like, I don't mean nothing homosexual, but a woman is just a man with a womb. That's why she's called a womb man. And your testicles and your penis is really just your vaginal wall and your ovaries protruding from your body. And this is why for the first 4 to 6 weeks of pregnancy, right, everybody in the world that has any type of medical sense will tell you the child is always a female until that placenta kicks that Y chromosome back to the child and helps it to become a male. So I said to say this: I'm speaking spiritually and divinely, according to divine law. I just want to say that Again, I'm not speaking it. Do not get up and start cussing your baby daddy out. Do not get up and start wilding on no black. We already fighting enough shit. But long story short, I gotta be distinct because I've been doing this for years, and I'm gonna be honest. Hopefully this shit don't happen no more. But so far, it ain't been a year yet. Even NLE Chopper tried this shit. I ain't got nothing personal again, but even rappers started trying it. It ain't been a year yet where somebody ain't heard something I said and ran off and started trying to do some bullshit. So goddamn, you know it is what it is.
Yeah, thank you for explaining that. Let me ask you a question as well. You know, because you're somebody who's been around a lot of famous people. You've been around a lot of celebrities. You know, and I remember that Nick Cannon done a interview with you. You know, he's interviewed a lot of well-known people, including Dr. Umar Johnson. Okay, to name a few. So that's not everybody, but Nick Cannon's interviewed a lot of people. We all know that he's following some sort of Moorish background. You know, he does his shows, he does his other bits, but he's come out there to show that, you know, he belongs to something. He's got some sort of spirituality, you know. And he decided to bring on a lot of the biggest speakers that are out there in our community, and Young Pharaoh was one of them. So I know that Young Pharaoh did an interview. I posted a very small clip of that interview. The only reason why I did that was because there was only a small clip. I didn't ever see the whole video of this, of this interview with somebody so big like Nick Cannon, and then somebody so big like yourself,
right,
with the following that you've had, you know, over the years, and you were brought onto this. I think it might have been around the time of the pandemic. I can't remember. But what happened to this anyway?
Oh yeah. I remember. Oh yeah, I remember the exact date.
When you brought out that video, I said I can't remember I can't really remember the date. So maybe you can, correct me on the date. Like
it was the date that we recorded. It was October 5th, and I know that because I immediately flew from Nick Cannon to go do an interview with Leon Kennedy.
Right.
So like as soon as I got done interviewing Nick Cannon, I got right on the plane and went to do an interview with Leon Kennedy. Now I say that to say this.
Right.
I'm not no clout chaser. But I do like my credit that is justly due. But I say that to say this. Nick Cannon slid in my DMs and asked me for an interview. Now you might say, Pharaoh, why is that important? Him not posting the interview for whatever reason is on him. But my thing is, don't have, because he didn't pay for my flight. He didn't pay for my hotel. He didn't pay for my travel. He asked me to do an interview. I came out of my pocket to fly all the way to somewhere I'm not from. With no,
right.
Well, goddamn, I don't even think I had a bodyguard at the time. Maybe
right.
I did, maybe I didn't. But I actually, no, actually, I don't think I had a bodyguard at the time. So I done flew way the fuck somewhere where I'm not from to do an interview. Came out of my pocket to make sure I'm here. I was on time. I wasn't late. Conducted a very beautiful interview. Went in there and dropped so much facts and shit that y'all probably never get to hear. And then he never posted it. So I feel like, nigga, you knew in the back of your mind you wasn't gonna post this shit before you asked me to come. So why the fuck did you ask me to come? And then it's funny how after I did this interview with Nick Cannon, magically he gonna start running off and getting hella bitches from me. So I feel like Nick Cannon did what every other man that has come across me does. They take my information and start using that shit to get their rocks off. So I feel like that nigga Nick Cannon took that interview. He was like, this nigga is undefeatable in information. I ain't never heard none of that shit in my life. and that nigga went behind the scenes, probably start acting like he was the one that knew that shit and start getting all of these bitches pregnant. I'ma just be honest. And so I'ma just be honest with you. It ain't nothing personal against Nick Cannon. I don't have nothing to do with Mariah or Eminem or none of that. I ain't bringing up none of that. I'm not a clout chaser. I'm staying on my issue. That's with me. This is an isolated incident. My issue is, bitch, don't ever call me across the motherfucking country. Literally. Right. And I'm coming out of my pocket to pull up. I'm on time. I'm not late. I'm professional. And then you sat me down for I'm telling you, I'm not even lying. That interview unedited. I'm not saying edited. I'm saying just flowing through. If he was to not edit that interview and just post it, that should be at least 3-4 hours. At least 3 hours. Got me sitting in this motherfucking room giving a 2-3 hour interview to not even post it. And then it'd be like, I'd be petty if I said, well, nigga, give me $1,000. Give me $1,000, nigga, to just for my flight. Nigga, reimburse my flight. Then they'd say I'm being petty. So it's like, I don't know if they told him not to post it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who that. Somebody said he funded by the Jews. I don't really, because I'm going to tell you what, my jeweler is a Jew. My jeweler is a Jew. And I ain't had no goddamn I actually had Israelis coming. I didn't sat, like I said, I ain't never had no Jewish person come tell me what and what not to say. So I don't know if they telling him what and what not to post. All I know is that nigga didn't post it. And I ain't going to blame the Jewish community because, like I said, the Jewish community is just, I'm not saying it's like gang. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it's like Bloods and Crips and Muslims at this point. It's so many different fucking sectors of this shit. How can you really keep up? You can't even say Jew. Because when you say Jew, now we got to break it down. What kind of Jew are we talking about? A Khazarian, an Ashkenazi, a Hungarian, it's so many different kinds of Jews. So I don't even like just saying the Jew. That's why I like to be specific. So like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say the Jewish community told him not to post. I'm not even going to say that. All I'm going to say is I don't know why he ain't posted, but if he ain't got the balls to at least like a man say why he didn't post my interview, then I'm going to leave it at that. But nigga, don't be surprised when I don't fuck with that nigga. Because like I said, I started a bank. I don't do no capping. My bank is worth, let me look at it. My bank is worth $456 million a year at minimum, and that's just based off 3 apps. I got 4 apps, 1 invention, and 2 products. I ain't even add all of them up. So
the video
to say Nick Cannon better not bring his ass over here asking me for shit. That's all I want to say. But go ahead, good brother. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so bear with me 1 second. Cool. So yeah, so basically what I was gonna say, man, is that you see like something like the black community, yeah? The community that we're a part of, definitely. I've heard or seen, you know, a few comments where people have said things like, oh, young Pharaoh doesn't consider himself as black. He doesn't consider himself as part of the black community. You know, he don't like the black community. You know, even some of the other comments, you know, like, oh, young Pharaoh's, you know, because of that, he's fallen off. Nobody wants to know him, all of this sort of stuff, right? What do you say about these comments? You know, would you say that, you know, that's true, that you know?
I'm so undefeated that Donald Trump is about to come grab me in a minute to go take down Hillary and them. So I haven't fallen off. I'm actually going up. I'm actually getting ready to get with Vietnam, Korea, Japan, and China and build a community. I'm actually the only one in the world that can hold on to the US dollar. So falling off is not the issue. This is what the issue. I'm glad somebody said I never said that, because I'm finna say I never said that. I'm finna tell y'all what it is. And I've been saying this shit for years. I don't know what part of this shit y'all don't understand. I am not a part of the black conscious community. That is what I am not a part of.
Right.
I'm not pro-black. I'm pro-righteous. Now,
okay.
I'm more am not going to lie to you. I am going to show favoritism to my people because they my people. Just like I would expect somebody else to show. Do you think I'm going to go to China and expect Chinese people not to be more loyal to each other than me? Fuck no. I expect they better be. They better be. They better goddamn be. Do you think I'm going to go to Puerto Rico and expect myself to have favor in Puerto Rico over the people of Puerto Rico? No. But what I'm saying is, if I go to China or Puerto Rico, I'm not over there doing nothing but spending money and helping in the way I can. I'm not going over there to destroy. So my thing is, I don't like the Black conscious community because everybody's seen what happened to me all of these years. I got all of my lawsuits, all of my complaints, everything. I was invited to New York City to do an interview, and I also went out there on behalf of this friend I had named Robert Kirkland. Now, I met Robert Kirkland in Wyoming. He told me to go to New York and ask him why the 5%ers wasn't responding to his mail. And it was somebody named Born Allah or Allah Born. I don't know who the fuck he is. Don't have me get the lying. I don't know who the fuck this nigga is. All I know is Robert Kirkland said, go to New York, contact Born Allah or Allah Born, and ask them why they, why they non-ciphering my mail. And if you a 5%er, you know what that means. I took my ass to New York as requested. Plus, it was convenient to do the interview because I already had to go there anyway. So I'm like, fuck it, since I got to go here anyway, why not do some business? And while I was out there, I was set up, and y'all all seen it. I basically started getting jumped by the whole damn conscious community, and they've been trying to get me locked up, sabotage my events. As y'all heard me say earlier, all my events have been drama-free. The only event I had with drama was a nigga from New York who was a Moor, and niggas from New York just been wilding. You know what I'm saying? Niggas from New York just been wilding. I'm not saying I'm afraid of nobody from New York, but my thing is I'm a businessman. I'm not a nigga, and I'm not 16, 17 years old, homeless on the street, running the streets wilding. I'm a grown-ass man that's trying to build the community and doing so successfully. So I have to, for some reason, it's sad, but I have to continue to distinguish myself from the conscious community because I don't agree with their behavior. I don't agree with their behavior. I know Black history better than any of them know it. But even if I didn't, I feel like, for example, I'm not about to sit outside and be yelling at white people about they the devil all day. So some people get mad at me because they do. The Hebrews can do that. That's what the Hebrews want to do. And like I said, I'm not here to argue with the Hebrews. I'm past them already. Right. But my thing is, if that's what the fuck you want to do with your time, do that. I would rather be in the house working on projects that I could come out and do as I've done, present them to the community and usher us forward. So the way that the conscious community has not only treated me, and I'm not even white, I can only imagine what the fuck they doing to you if you white. So my thing is, I don't agree with any and all behavior. Now, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and actual racist white politicians, I have struck them and will continue to strike them and give my paperwork to the military for the military to do their job as the general. But as far as walking around and just bothering everyday regular motherfuckers who probably don't even know what's going on, no. So my thing is, I have never said I don't want to be a part of or abandon the Black community. And another thing that the Black community need to take into consideration is Black Americans, no disrespect, but nobody really like y'all motherfuckers. I'm from over here, and I don't really like a lot of y'all motherfuckers. So let's just be honest. Y'all don't treat Africanoid or Negroid people right. Y'all don't treat us right. Going to school with y'all alone is one of the most traumatizing, hellish experiences ever. To be honest, nigga, my life didn't become peaceful until I moved to the goddamn suburbs. And I feel like even if you are poor, that don't mean you got to be greasy. Because when I was poor, I still had fun and enjoyed my life. I just knew I was poor. But I still played my music and fuck with bad bitches at whoever was on that level and did my thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like Black Americans have to realize that y'all are bullying everybody over here. On top of the fact we gotta fight the government, we gotta fight white supremacy, then we gotta fight niggercity. Somebody gave me that word, toxicity mixed with niggercity. So it's like what Black Americans gotta realize is, don't be mad at me for distinguishing myself from specific behavior. If I'm not a rapist, I'm gonna clearly say I don't want to be classified as a rapist or a part of their group. If I'm not a Black person that could be classified as an extremist or somebody that's endangering the community, don't ever try to misconstrue what I'm saying as I don't love my people. I love my people, but I don't love seeing my people get gunned down by other races, other sectors of my own race, but senseless violence. You feel what I'm saying? I go to Chicago all the time. Nigga, I've been going to Chicago for years, walking through Chicago. Nigga, the GD, everybody in Chicago know me. I ain't trying to flex or front or show off. I'm just telling you, I go to Chicago right the fuck now on MSNBC. And nigga, they gonna come sit right here and talk to me. We talk. So it's niggas in the streets that even though I'm not in the streets, I go still talk to niggas that's in the streets. But it's niggas in the streets that'll tell you they might be selling weed and trying to survive, but they not out there committing senseless violence. You know what I'm saying? They're not out there just randomly shooting shit up for no reason, even though they may look like the stereotype of what white media may say is a thug or a gangbanger. You know what I'm saying? When I go to Chicago, nigga, I go right up in the weed house, right up in all that. I ain't never been robbed. I ain't never been nothing up in Chicago. I ain't been robbed since I got the fuck down here, and I'm about to get that back. But long story short, I'm just here to dispel the bullshit. The people in the country, the people in the Black community that you think is really wilding is not really wilding. You would think that the niggas in the street, and I ain't saying niggas in the streets ain't wild, some of them wild, but you would think that niggas in the streets or niggas at lower class is wilding. I would rather deal with gangbangers and niggas in the streets more than I would rather deal with niggas in the conscious community. Because niggas don't want to, like, for example, okay, I did a live with Sinetter the other day. He asked me to come on his live. Okay, and in my mind, I'm like, maybe I could come back to the conscious community and bring my newly discovered evidence. So I tell Sinetter before, and this is exactly how me and Sinetter got into it the first time. I tell Sinetter, I say, listen, I don't want to debate right now on your platform. Now, me personally, I don't want to. That's like whooping a nigga ass 20 times in a row and he keep asking for a rematch. If I beat your ass 1,000 times and you finally beat me once, I'm going to respect your win. But nigga, I beat you 1,000 times, but I don't want to keep fighting you because I know I can whoop your ass. So for me, I'm already slaughtered everybody over here. I'm not here to argue with y'all niggas about that. Let's talk about human trafficking. Let's talk about our people going missing. Let's talk about real shit that's happening today. I'm not here to argue with you about if some shit did or didn't happen. Let's talk about right now some shit that happened a week ago. I get on there. The first thing that happened is first thing we see niggas start popping up trying to debate, and then this shit got me to the point where, like I said, I'm not gonna repeat the word. I don't want to get his Instagram flagged, and I'm not racist at all. But I feel like, you know, I got to choose between the medium. I do respect the fact that I'm a trained motherfucking martial artist. I can't just be randomly putting my hands on people. But I feel like shit, if they want to keep calling me white boys and giving me the disrespect they've been giving me, even though clearly I'm not a white man at all. I check the white man when he wrong too. But I feel like shit, y'all niggas want to keep doing little sneaky shit and bothering me or trying to get me on platforms and then do shit that I clearly told you not to do. I'm calling you the N-word with the ER at the end. So that's when y'all see me call them the N-word. But I'm here to say that I ain't no Uncle Tom or no coon or none of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't put my hands on my baby mothers, but I ain't gonna lie, I ain't been doing this, but after so many years of getting called a white boy and getting verbally jumped by people's families and just getting violated, I started calling my baby mothers the N-word. So whenever my baby mothers start wilding and playing games with my kids, in my mind, I say, instead of putting your hands on a Black woman or whatever, I'm going to just call you the N-word. And as bad as that makes you feel, hopefully it makes you understand that that's as bad as what you're doing makes me feel. And if you don't understand that, then I'm going to just call you the N-word. But I want to say this. I'm not actually racist. I don't approve of racism. Obviously, if you look at my work, you know I'm the first one to get on. I'm the only one to actually damage white America politically. I knocked off the whole Democratic Party single-handedly and reestablished meritocracy. And I'm the only one reestablishing Egypt as a global empire. So I'm for my people. But I do realize that all my people are not mentally sound and not mentally there. And honestly, I feel like if you, I want to say 25 and up, but I'm going to be nice and say 20, 30 and up. I feel like if you 30 and up in the black community, like, nigga, nobody, like, you need to just have a seat because your mind is no longer useful, damn near. You're not willing to hear nothing. You're not willing for change. You know what I'm saying? If I'm coming to you, imagine me getting on the platform and telling somebody, I don't want to debate or argue with these old ass niggas. I got a technology company that's worth $500 million a year. I got 4 inventions. I got 1 invention, 2 products, and 5 applications, with 3 of them ready to go now. And the 3 that's ready to go is already worth $46 million a month, 38 million a month, 456 million a year. And you get me on the platform after I just told you I don't want to argue with this nigga, and then I get on there and you get some niggas on there arguing with
Okay, okay, look, thank you, yeah.
me.
There's something that I want to ask, you know, I want to be completely sincere and transparent about this. Over here in the UK, yeah, and I'm guessing it's like that with, you know, with some of the Americans in US. Okay, as somebody, you know, that has the platform that I have, right, the platform that I'm a part of, like Black History UK, you know, I've spoken to a lot of people in the black community that do a lot of different things over here. Okay, and we try to reach out to those in America as well, and basically, I see quite big crowds of people that know who you are, that appreciate everything and love what you do. And you know, they're like, yeah, young Pharaoh, oh, he's amazing. You know, have you seen his videos on this? Have you seen his videos on that? Young Pharaoh's, there's a lot of people that say that you're the best speaker out of everybody, like past Dr. Umar Johnson. There's a lot of people that compare you on that level. I hear a lot of people say things like this, like, oh, young Pharaoh, between him and Dr. Umar Johnson, they are the #1 speakers, period, you know? So anybody that I speak to, you know, a majority of those people are telling me that they appreciate you, love you, and all that you do, and that you are probably equal to somebody like Dr. Umar Johnson. But what I want to get to is this. Whilst there's a massive community of those people that love you, appreciate you, support you, you know, that they want to be notified of what's going on, you know, they want to be updated by you of everything that's going on. There is this community of people that have a dislike towards you. Some of the statements from this community may say things like, oh, he's fell off. Young Pharaoh's I don't want to hear about young Pharaoh. Some people say, oh, young Pharaoh's the clone. Like, you already covered that one up earlier. You explained a whole load of it. You know, some people will say things like, oh, ever since he had his baby mama dramas and things like this, basically, that's where he fell down. What would you say to that community of people that say those statements? Do you think that there are any elements of truth to whether it was because obviously you used to do your thing on your own? Do you think that you reason with them on any part where they may say, oh, ever since his baby mama came in the light and got in that limelight, she was the one that destroyed him, or he, you know, what was going on between him and her, that's what made his career go down. Obviously, you still got this massive support over here. But explain about this smaller community that say the things that they say about you. Can you elaborate on that?
I'm going to say a friend of mine from Buffalo named Ikea. We went to high school together. When I got out of jail, Ikea seen I was on a righteous path. And she was like, you know, it's a speaker out here named Umar Johnson. He coming to Rochester. You should go see him. So I went to go see his ass with Ikea, right. And I actually was raising my hand, asking him so many good questions. He thought I was a heckler. And I said to say this, I actually supported Umar Johnson. Now, why is this important? When I started blowing up in the community, I don't even think Umar Johnson realized I was the same person. And Umar Johnson, and I got the video, I got the receipt. Umar Johnson came down here to Houston, and they asked him, what you think about young Pharaoh? And he was like, he the dirtiest nigga in the game. And I'm like, first of all, nigga, my first, and I'm not here to brag, but if y'all want me to brag, nigga, my first car was a 2-door coupe. Nigga, I had way more money than you. So I could have been flexed on you. But y'all know I ain't. You hear my song Worthy? Why I ain't flex with that bag? I ain't got shit to prove. I don't try to flex. I like to flex my character. I don't like to flex money because you may not have money all the time, but you better have your character. So I say that to say this why I don't fuck with Umar, because he violated me for no reason. So after I even supported him, I felt more violated. Like, nigga, and the fact that you don't realize I'm the same person just shows even more that you a bitch. But outside of that, fuck Umar. That's why I don't fuck with Umar. So when people say black brothers couldn't do, why y'all like him coming together? This is why we ain't gonna never come together. Now, with that being said, as far as the other whatchamacallit, the haters, they just haters. But I feel like, you know, somebody, I just feel like, you know, this is why we never get nowhere. And if I wasn't as strong as I was, I wouldn't have made it. Like I said, I've been attempted to assassinate. I've dodged assassination attempts. Believe I've dodged robbery attempts, all from my community. And I feel like black people, no disrespect, especially, I ain't lived nowhere else. I only can speak on America. I feel like black men in America, especially men, is some of the biggest haters in the world. And it's like, why y'all, nothing that they saying is true, but why do you want it to be so true so bad? Why would you want the #1 leader and the #1 black military general in the world to fall off? Why would you want that? Why would you want that? Let's speak on my baby mother. I got a year's worth of evidence of shit that my attorney never presented, as far as my baby mother sneaking my kids around some, and this ain't no disrespect to all Haitians, but I'm saying it, a dirty ass Haitian bitch. This is my baby mother out with a married man with my kids. See, what people don't understand is my issue with Golden is this. Golden was not my first wife. Yogini was my first wife. Now, me and I ain't gonna put all the business out there, but Golden and Yogini know why that shit didn't work, because they kept arguing and fighting, because Golden is constantly starting fights with bitches for no reason. Every single female I talk to, Golden is trying to start a fight with them. Me and Golden became strained because I told her, I said, Golden, if my lifestyle is too much for you, go the fuck home. Go the fuck home. Go the fuck home. Now, like I said, I'm not going to put her business out there. But Golden knows exactly why the fuck she say she didn't want to go home. She know why she say she didn't want to go home. So I let her ass rock out. But I'm like, bitch, if you going to rock out, respect what's going on in my space and respect what's going on in my environment. It ain't violent in my environment, but I do have women. I'm not gay, motherfucker. What are you talking about? So my thing is, my issue with Golden was we made a deal. We made a deal. I already told